Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today we're going to be doing a Bystial Dark Magician deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck was actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Meli. And this deck is a crazy powerful deck with just how well the Dark Magician cards work with the Bystial cards. We're even using a branded engine in this deck to turbo out extremely powerful boss monsters like Mirror Jade, which is just absolutely insane. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name scratched in a single video, getting a signed cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. And definitely give Meli some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one, guys. So first off, we're playing two copies of the ultimate wizard in terms of attack and defense, the Dark Magician. 2 is totally fine for this deck, and it's a really awesome nostalgic card. I absolutely love this card, and it's just super cool to be able to play as a 2 of in this build. We're then playing a single copy of Dark Magician Girl. Dark Magician Girl is an extremely nostalgic card that you only want to play as a 1 of in the deck, but it's a awesome 1 of card in this build. We're then playing a single copy of Apprentice Illusion Magician. Apprentice Illusion Magician is an awesome card that can actually search out Dark Magician directly from your deck and can special summon itself to your side of the field by discarding a card. This card is also a hand trap, which is amazing because it has the ability that during damage calculation, if your other Dark Spellcaster monster battles an opponent's monster, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand or face up from your side of the field to the graveyard, and that monster you control gains 2,000 attack and defense during that damage calculation only, which is a really insane effect, because it'll actually make your copy of Dark Magician go up to 4,500, which can even match a Blue Eyes Ultimate. We then play a single copy of Timaeus the United Dragon. This card is a definite 1 of the deck and is basically a walking polymerization. This card is super easy to put on your side of the field because you can send a spellcaster monster or a spell trap that mentions Dark Magician from your hand or face up and field to the graveyard to special summon this card from your hand, which is great to be able to put this card on your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Magician's Rod. Magician's Rod is the best normal summon in the entire deck, because when this card is normal summon, you can add a spell or trap card from your deck to your hand that specifically lists Dark Magician in its text, which is a really good effect to be able to search out a bunch of cards from your deck off this card's effect. We then play 3 copies of Magician Souls. Magician Souls is an insane card. This card is so good because it can actually special summon Dark Magician to your side of the field. It can also let you draw 2 cards, which is just so powerful. It has the ability that when it's on the field, you can send up to 2 spells or traps from your hand or your field to the graveyard and then draw that many cards. And if this card is in your hand, you can send a level 6 or higher spellcaster monster from your deck to the graveyard to activate one of these effects. Either special summon this card or send it to the graveyard, and then special summon Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl from your graveyard, which is a really good effect. We then play 2 copies of Illusion of Chaos. Illusion of Chaos is really good because you can actually reveal this card in your hand to add Dark Magician or a non-ritual monster that mentions it from your deck to your hand. Then place a card from your hand on the top of your deck, which is a great effect to be able to use with this card to be able to get the exact card that you need, like your copy of Magician Souls. We then play 2 copies of Aluber. Aluber is really good as a 2 in the deck to get to your copy of Branded Fusion, because if this card is normal or special summon, you can add a branded spell or trap from your deck to your hand. We then play 2 copies of Fallen of Albaz. Fallen of Albaz is really good as a 2 of in this deck to help you use your copies of Branded Fusion to make really powerful cards like Mirror Jade. We then play 3 copies of Magnamut. Magnamut is an awesome card in the deck because this card can actually use a crazy powerful effect that all of your Bystial monsters actually share as a common effect. As you can target a light or a dark monster in either player's graveyard and banish it, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand, and it's a quick effect if your opponent controls a monster, which is a really insane effect that all of your Bystial monsters actually share that common effect outside of your copy of your Lubellion. But this card has an awesome unique ability that if this card is special summoned, you can activate this effect that during the end phase of this turn, you can add a dragon monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand, except another copy of this card, which is a great effect to be able to use to search any dragon that you need from your deck, including your copy of Timaeus off this card's effect. We then play just a single copy of Druisworm. Druisworm's really good as a one-of in the deck, because this card has a great ability. If this card is sent from the field to the grave, you can target a special summon monster that your opponent controls and send it to the graveyard. We then play a single copy of Solnir. Solnir is really powerful in this particular build, since we are playing the branded package in the deck, because it has the ability, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can send a Bystial monster or a branded spell or trap from your deck to the graveyard, which is a great effect to be able to use with this card. We then play a single copy of Baldrake. Baldrake is just insane. This card is great at dealing with monsters on the field. It's just a really good card in this deck. We then play a single copy of Lubellion. You only need a single copy of Lubellion in this particular build, and it's a great card to play in this deck, because this card has an awesome ability that you can actually send this card from your hand to the graveyard to be able to add from your deck to your hand any of your Bystial monsters. And if this card is in the graveyard, you can actually tribute a level 6 or higher Dark Dragon monster to special summon this card back to your side of the field. And then during your main phase, you can place a branded continuous spell or trap from your deck face up in your spell and trap card zone, which is a great effect to be able to use with your copies of Branded Regain or Branded Beast. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Secrets of Dark Magic. Secrets of Dark Magic is a really awesome card that's basically a polymerization for the deck for your copies of Dark Magician, which is an amazing thing about this card. It's even searchable, which is crazy. We then play a single copy of Magician's Salvation. Magician's Salvation is a definite one of the deck, because this card helps out so much in this particular build, because when this card is activated, you can set Eternal Soul directly from your deck. And if you normal or special summon Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl, then you can target that monster and then special summon Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl with a different name from your graveyard. So basically, if you summon out your copy of Dark Magician, you can summon out your copy of Dark Magician Girl and vice versa, which is really awesome. We then play a single copy of Branded Regain. Branded Regain is awesome in the deck because this card works as a draw engine, which is just really good and helps you recycle your resources as well, which is really nice. Because if a light or dark monster is banished, then you can actually target one of those monsters and place it on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, draw a card. And once per turn, if your opponent normal or special summons a monster, except during the damage step, you can target a Bystial monster in your graveyard and special summon it back to your side of the field, which is an insanely powerful effect. We then play two copies of Dark Magical Circle. Dark Magical Circle is basically like a pot of duality for the deck, and it also spot removes cards, which is really good, because when this card is activated, you get to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal one Dark Magician or a spell or trap that specifically lists the card Dark Magician among those cards, and add it to your hand, and then place the cards that you didn't add back on top of your deck in any order. This card is great as well, because if Dark Magician is normal or special summoned to your side of the field, then you can actually target one card your opponent controls and banish it, which is just really insane. We then play 3 copies of Preparation of Rites. Preparation of Rites is really good because this card can actually search out your copy of Illusion of Chaos, which is really good because this card is basically the search for the searcher, which is just absolutely insane. We then play 3 copies of Branded Fusion. Branded Fusion is really good because this card helps you step into so many different boss monsters, and it's an awesome fusion spell that actually lets you use materials directly from your deck. The only downside of this card is you must use Fallen of Albaz for that fusion summon, which is just not that big of a deal because you can step into really powerful cards like Mirror Jade by stepping into copies of Albion or Lubellion first. This card is a definite 3 of in the deck and one of the most powerful fusion spells ever created. We then play 3 copies of Soul Servant. Soul Servant is a definite 3 of in the deck, and this card helps out so much because it lets you place one card on top of your deck from your hand, deck, or graveyard that is Dark Magician or specifically lists Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl in its text, except another copy of this card. And then during your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard and draw cards equal to the number of Paladinian monsters Dark Magician and or Dark Magician Girl with different names on the field or in the graveyard, which is really good, with a maximum of a draw 2 off this card in this build. So that's it for these spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start off with a single copy of Branded Beast. Branded Beast is really good to be able to work with your Bystial monsters because this card has the ability that once per turn during the main phase, if you control a Bystial monster, then you can tribute a dragon monster, target one card your opponent controls, and destroy it. And during the end phase, you can target a branded continuous spell or trap in your graveyard and place it face up on the field, which can be your copy of Branded Regained. We then play 2 copies of Eternal Soul. Eternal Soul is amazing as a 2-of in this deck. You can get to it extremely easily with Magician's Salvation, and it's a great card in this particular build because every Dark Magician in your monster zone is unaffected by your opponent's card effects. And if this face-up card leaves the field, you destroy all monsters that you control, and it has the ability that once per turn, you can special summon Dark Magician from your hand or graveyard, which is a great effect to be able to use with this card. So, that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with 2 copies of Mirror Jade. Mirror Jade is an insanely powerful boss monster that can just spot remove cards off the field, and it's just a crazy powerful boss monster to put on your side of the field. We then play 2 copies of Albion. Albion is a walking miracle fusion that can actually banish materials from the graveyard to be able to special summon out awesome fusion monsters from your extra deck. We then play a single copy of Lubellion. Lubellion is awesome as a 1-of in this build, but you only need a single copy of this card. It has a great ability. If this card is fusion summoned, you can discard a card and then shuffle the materials back into your deck that you're going to use to fusion summon into a monster, which is just super good to be able to do to make some really powerful fusion plays. We then play 2 copies of Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon is just an insane card in this deck that's actually a walking negate and very easy to put on your side of the field. It can pop cards on the field, and it's just a crazy powerful card because it cannot be destroyed by card effects, and neither player can target it with card effects either. This card is absolutely insane, and one of the most powerful boss monsters ever created. We then play a single copy of Master of Chaos. Master of Chaos is really good as a 1-of in the build because if this card is fusion summoned, you can target a light or dark monster in your graveyard and special summon it. And then you can tribute a light and a dark monster to banish all monsters that your opponent controls, which is a really awesome effect to be able to use with this card. We then play a single copy of Dark Magician the Dragon Knight. Dark Magician the Dragon Knight is a definite 1-of in the build because this card helps out a lot in this deck because this card's name becomes Dark Magician while in the field or in the graveyard, and your opponent cannot target spells and traps that you control with card effects. Also, they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects either, giving you a lot of protection for your spells and trap cards like your copies of Eternal Soul. We then play a single copy of the Dark Magicians. The Dark Magicians is really good in this deck as a 1-of because it has a great effect that once per turn, if a spell or trap card or effect is activated, then you can draw a card. And if it's a spell or trap, you can set it to your side of the field, and if it's a trap or a quick play, you can activate it the same turn. And if this card is destroyed, you can special summon both a Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl from your hand, deck, and or graveyard, which is great that this card replaces itself with 2 really cool boss monsters. We then play a single copy of Chaos Angel because this card is super easy to make in this deck because your copy of Dark Magician is a level 7 and Magician's Rod is a level 3, making it very easy to put this card on your side of the field that monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle, making it really an insane card to combo with your copy of Eternal Soul, which is just really insane. This card is an awesome boss monster to be able to put on your side of the field. We then play a single copy of the Dredge Dragon. Dredge Dragon is really easy to put on your side of the field, and just a really awesome XZ to be able to work with all of your Bystial monsters. We then play a single copy of Access Code. Access Code is just great in the deck to be able to pop multiple cards on the field, and it's very easy to be able to put on the field in the deck. Play a single copy of Selene. Selene is also great to be able to play in this deck, because we play multiple spell cards in this build, and it's very easy to make this card in the deck. And then finally, play a single copy of the Dark Charmer. The Dark Charmer is amazing, especially if your opponent has a dark monster in the graveyard. It basically means you're going to step into your copy of Access Code because you make this card, take a dark monster at your opponent's graveyard, put it on your field, link it away for your copy of Selene because this card is a spellcaster, put 3 counters on Selene when there's 3 spell cards on the field or in the graveyard, move those 3 counters, bring back any spellcaster you want to your side of the field, and then you make your copy of Access Code by linking those cards away, giving you 2 pops on the field and a 5,300 attack point monster. This card is really awesome in the deck, and I really like this particular particular link lineup for this build, especially since we're relying on branded fusions so heavily. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is so fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played this deck before, it's a really fun deck. You can play all sorts of really cool tech cards in this deck, but I really like being able to make Mirror Jade in this particular build and controlling the graveyard with all of the Bystial cards. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.